My name is Paul Pomerantz. I'm Executive Director, Worldwide Executive Director of DIA. DIA is a unique organization. We're a global forum dedicated to facilitating innovation and knowledge exchange with the goal of enhancing worldwide health and well-being. What makes DIA unique is that DIA, among all organizations in healthcare, first, it brings together all the stakeholders. We bring together the patient, bring together the regulator, we bring together industry, we bring together academia and the clinician, and increasingly other stakeholders in the pursuit of better medicines, better, more effective, safer medicines, and better policy to support medical care. It was, I think the numbers were up from last year. A lot of new companies. You could see in the hall the changes that are beginning to take place in the industry. Little things that you could see where companies not only had their own booth, but they had booths to support their partners. And what you're beginning to see is more of a trend towards partnering and networking in the exhibit hall. So it's about selling. It's about companies selling their products, but it's also partnering and networking between the companies that are in the hall, and more encouragement of a what would you call it, an ecology, a biosystem around the whole biopharmaceutical and medical product development. Well, the programming at the DIA Euro meeting is very, very broad. Covers a wide range of activities in the number of themes. So we use theme areas, some 14, 15 different theme areas cover a wide variety of topics. I think what's really important about the DIA meeting is not only what you learn, but the opportunity to interact on a multi-stakeholder basis. So what people take away is not only, yes, I'm learning more, let's use the example of health technology assessment, but I'm learning what it means to the patient. I'm learning what it means to the regulator. I'm learning what it means, to the policymaker. I'm learning, what we know, but what we need to know. The other thing about the DIA is we encourage engagement and activity, partnership between people. So they make connections where they can do future work and future learning. So it's not a single event, but it's part of a process of continuous learning. The other thing that's very important, I think, about DIA is that the healthcare system is in continuous evolution. It's in continuous progress. And DIA is right there with them as they go along the way. So I think at this year's meeting, they heard very critical forums on things like medical devices, on health technology assessment, on safety, the global safety of the global supply chain, the issues of falsified medicines. They learned the roadmap from the EMA. And so by looking at all this together, I think people leave, and when I talk to people, not only with new knowledge, but a framework of where the system is going and what their role in it is. The changes are, there's a couple critical changes that I think affect DIA most critically. First of all, it's a convergence of technologies that are geared towards healthcare, towards delivering care to the patient. So we used to look at pharmaceuticals in one way, information technology in another way, medical devices in another way, the role of the clinician in another way, and everything was very siloed. Now it's all kind of coming together, and you can see it happening. Medical devices and pharmaceuticals are coming together in all sorts of combinations. Drug device delivery systems, personalized medicine, which links diagnostics with medical delivery. The role of information technology, both as a medical device in itself with real-time monitoring, but also in its ability to link the clinical experience with our knowledge about outcomes. It's becoming increasingly important to policymakers and decision-making. The role of the clinician more intricately involved now with drug development, and the voice of the patient becoming very critical, a very critical dimension of biopharmaceutical development. All these trends are moving together. The other trend is globalization. We're a global industry. Certainly the pharmaceuticals is a global industry. It's a global regulatory framework. The whole world is concerned about all the health conditions, or should be concerned about the health conditions that exist around the world, because diseases move, conditions move, and we have to be concerned about these things. So all this converges together, to create a whole different healthcare environment than what we saw 10 years ago. And I think DIA's role is to help provide a framework, a place where people can come together, understand those trends, create forums where people can share best practices, identify the key issues, learn from one another, and help advance our better understanding of the system and help advance solutions that will provide for better healthcare. It's going to be a very different kind of meeting in many different ways. It's going to build on its tradition it's the largest meeting of its type in the world. It's truly global, and we're going to build on those global aspects this year. We'll be bringing in regulators and industry from around the world. This year's annual meeting will incorporate the voice of the patient. We'll have some 15 new patient fellows for the first time at our annual meeting. We'll be introducing new topics, including medical devices and health technology assessment. We'll feature for the first time this year an enhanced focus on information technology, including in the exhibit hall an interoperability showcase, which we're working on with the Health Information Management Systems Society and CDIS to really demonstrate how different elements of health information technology can work together to deliver information that's needed for decision making, for all sorts of decision making. The exhibit hall will be a very exciting place this year. As the industry has changed, we're seeing a lot of new entrants, growth in some companies, a lot more emphasis on information technology, a lot more services are being added to the exhibit hall. And one of the interesting things that we're doing this year is to promote the exhibit hall more effectively as an experience in and of itself. So we're going to have unparalleled education, we're going to have unparalleled networking, and in the exhibit hall we're going to have a much better opportunity for doing business. As part of this, we're going to feature this year for the first time opportunities for exhibitors to provide hosting of different events that occur within the exhibit hall. For instance, our networking reception, which will bring together all the attendees on Monday night of the meeting. Exhibitors will have an opportunity to host food stations at that event, so they'll be able to get better recognition at the meeting. The other thing that we'll have for the first time is rooms set aside in the exhibit hall where exhibitors can prearrange to meet with attendees, to meet with others, to facilitate their interaction with folks at the meeting. But just like at the Euro meeting, we'll be focusing on not only the commercial aspects of the trade show, but really promoting partnering, interaction, the development of new relationships within the exhibit hall. A couple things. First of all, we're beginning to see the health returning to the industry. It's very much a different industry. We all know that companies have restructured, they've merged or outsourced positions. But when we look at the trends in North America now, the trends in Europe, we're seeing people returning to meetings. And when we look in our activities in our developing and emerging countries, we're seeing a lot of growth there. We're seeing a lot of new players in the market. So whereas maybe big pharma might be reducing in size, we have a lot newer entrants of mid-size and smaller firms. We have entrants of medical device companies, biotech, drug discovery firms, and all the companies along the product life cycle that are there to support the development and post-market support of decision-making surrounding everything from safety to technology assessment. So I think what we're seeing is a much more diversified industry, and I think what we're seeing is an investment beginning to return to the industry. We're beginning to see a need for learning and companies investing in learning. So I think what you're seeing at this year's Euro meeting, and you're going to see at the annual meeting, is a great deal of vibrancy coming back to DIA.